and then letting one sit, then come back about 5 or 6 hours later and do a fresh one and make the comparison, they're going to change.
And so this is when I really found this out. So I juice a lot. I do all kinds of juices, and I juiced apples. That's 100% apple juice.
Right.
That juice is so potent and so sweet. There is no way that you can juice 3 apples or even 2 apples and drink an 8-ounce glass of apple juice. You're gonna have to add water to that.
Right.
So that helped me to identify with that apple juice that they're saying in the store is 100%. You can read on the back and see all the different fillers and preservatives that are in there for shelf life purposes. Of course, it's probably a little bit more healthier than drinking a caramel macchiato from Starbucks, right? But still, it's not 100%, and I think that's what people really need to understand. I think that the FDA allows them to say it's 100% when it doesn't have as much of something in it, so it's not really against the law, but it's really not 100%.
Yeah. Here's the deal: you're already type 1, type 2 diabetic, and now you're pouring sugary drinks from refined sugars and chemical sugars, your high fructose corn syrups. So the high fructose corn syrup is probably the reason why you became diabetic in the first place. So now we have to avoid and remove that and just replenish that body with water, start cleaning it out.
So the most important thing that I would share with the audience is to make sure that you're reading your labels. Because on the labels, whatever is that first thing, I learned this in cosmetology school. When we're looking at our products or what we're putting in our hair and on our skin and our face, that first name on the product is that's what they have the most of in it. So I go with like water-based foundations and things like that instead of oil. Sometimes back in the day, you used to have a lot of oil and then would clog your pores up. So even on the food ingredients, you're gonna see high fructose corn syrup. Just know that that's what the majority of it is. And it may say green tea. Green tea may be way at the bottom. That means that's the lesser of that's the least of what they have in there. They may just put a little dropper of that in there and they say, oh, infused with green tea. And it doesn't really have that much in it to really have an effect on your body.
So what you're saying is, we're so used to buying everything from the front label. It's time to turn the package or the product around and look at the back label.
And purchase by the bag.
Yeah, start looking at your ingredients.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The third thing you said is skipping breakfast. Now, I'm not a big breakfast person. I'll do smoothies in the morning. If anything, I'll drink some green tea, or I may eat, a bowl of fruit or something like that. But sometimes it just depends on how busy my morning is. I may not have breakfast, and so I know how important that is, but that's why now I do smoothies or do some type of maybe a small bowl of oatmeal or something like that. But what's the importance about that when it comes down to diabetes?
When it comes down to diabetes, you just had breakfast, and you had some great breakfasts with the list that you just gave. But we're talking about skipping breakfast altogether. Mm-hmm. So, we have this thing, a lot of people don't know that breakfast is really break the fast. You're supposed to get your last meal in, before 6 o'clock. Some people do it before 4:30 in the evening without you doing a lot of late night eating. And start your fast after that last meal throughout the night. And when you wake up in the morning, breakfast is break the fast. Well, if you skip breakfast after you haven't eaten all night, you're not starting this body up. And now you're creating your own insulin resistance by not fueling that body so they can't get up and get going. Okay. And if you're already diabetic, you got to have planned breakfasts or quick breakfasts, the smoothies, the brands, the oatmeals, the cereals, the good cereals. There's a lot of box cereals you shouldn't have. But you have to get your body jump started.
Okay. And again, with the box cereal is reading the labels, basically,
exactly.
Seeing what's in it. What about skimping on produce?
Skimping on produce really comes from not getting enough leafy greens. So if you're the meat and potatoes person, you're not doing enough greens and vegetables and fruits. Now you're not getting enough alkaline foods in your body. You got a lot of Happy Meals, a lot of Boston Market type things. But not be getting myself in trouble with using those brand names. But I'm just the regular, your regular cafe meals, cafeteria meals, you're not getting enough green stuff. So you got to get some more
Right.
greens and vegetables in your
And,
life.
and then you have to understand that even at restaurants, they use, their seasonings, their sodium, cheeses. I love Boston Market. I go and I like their cream spinach, but I know it's full of dairy, and their yams. I love those, but it's full of sugar.
Yeah.
Instead of me baking a yam and putting some brown sugar and some vegan butter, which vegan butter is just made with healthy oils. That's all it is. And it tastes just like butter. And putting that in there or sauteing a bag of spinach. I go to Aldi all the time, and this is the crazy part about it. I get the spinach leaves in that whole bag. I'll saute that, and it's about this much.
Yeah.
But it's better for you. And I use the pink Himalayan sea salt, so that salt is better for you. But just eating it without it being processed, because even if you go to a restaurant, which are good restaurants that serve, I love Luby's and all those things, but they're processing the vegetables even at a certain level, where you're not like getting it from the garden and just putting it on your plate. No, everybody doesn't want to eat everything raw. I'm okay with raw, sometimes a raw salad, but sometimes I want to saute my spinach, but it's much healthier if I do it myself because I know what I'm putting in it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So what I share with my friends on Facebook and Instagram, I say eat the rainbow. When I say eat the rainbow, then you know that your plate should be colorful, right? Bell peppers and things like
Exactly.
that.
That's great. Yeah.
Cool. All right, so the fifth thing is avoiding fish, good fats, and lean protein. And you stated that there should be at least 2 servings a week.
Yes. Good fish. Well, first of all, there's a lot of people that don't eat fish. So let's understand the importance of eating great oily fishes. When you eat your chickens and your beefs and your porks, they're coming with a fat that has a cholesterol, and that cholesterol may have been the reason, high cholesterol may have been the reason why you became type 2 diabetic in the first place. A lot of people think that's just sugar consumption, too much sugar consumption. That becomes a problem later on. But when you're eating the oily fishes, those oils are good fats, and good fats help your good cholesterol, and it also keeps your heart and your arteries open and moving around. Whereas the other fats, the meat fats, they clog and they close and they make where everything going through your arteries becomes sticky.
Pork, low quality, low grade beef.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like your good fishes are naturally your tunas, your mackerel, your halibut, your sea bass, your salmon, of course, and maybe some cod. Those are good oily fishes. Notice I didn't say anything about catfish or tilapia, and those are 2 big no-nos in terms of a good healthy diet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so starchy carbs. What do you mean by starchy carbs?
Starchy carbs are basically another sugar, because your body's going to process those starches into another sugar. Mm-hmm. So now you got all your sugary drinks, you got your sugary cereals, you got the foods your processed foods have sugars in them, and now you're eating the carbs, and the carbs are turning into sugar too. So now that's even building up a greater insulin resistance.
Specific carbs, potatoes.
So white potatoes, white rice, those carbs and potato chips. I know. Who doesn't like to have that potato chip snack? You know what I'm saying? So
what if they're baked Lays?
No. Let me tell you something. Anything that's conveniently put in a bag for you that's a potato chip, first of all, a Pringle is not even a potato chip. Has everybody thought about that? Do you think that they're actually slicing that potato to make a Pringle? No, they're using a potato starch, and they take the potato starch and they mold it, and then they flavor it, and they make you a potato chip.
Wow.
So, and then I ate Pringles for years. But you gotta understand, your potato starches, they're gonna turn straight to sugar. And now you're eating late night potato chip snacks and white potatoes, it goes straight to a starch. Whereas your sweet potatoes and your yams, and I found another favorite of mine, the Japanese sweet potato.
Yes.
They're very helpful. They help with anti-inflammation. So if you're arthritic, you got pains or aches, those potatoes are actually a healing potato, and we just think that they're supposed to go with Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have those sweet potatoes pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
So sweet potato hashes, there's a lot of.
And the Japanese sweet potato has a little sweetness to it, but it has the density of a russet potato, a baked potato.
Very high in vitamin A and vitamin K. So just Google the benefits of Japanese sweet potatoes.
Awesome. And that leads into midnight munching.
Well, we already know late night eating is a no-no because that's that one thing you're not going to do if you're on that diet.
Right.
If you're trying to get in that dress or that outfit, you're not going to do any late night eating.
Right.
All right. So now so it just makes it. That's just one thing where the body doesn't get a chance to take a break to start processing, to start healing things in your body at night. So midnight munching is processing those bad foods, maybe those chips, those things that turned into sugars from the carbs, and it's not a good platform for your body.
So briefly, last night I attended a women's meeting, and we talk about health and wellness. And the one thing that the guest talked about was how hard our liver really tries to work for our bodies.
Wow.
So between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is when the liver is working the hardest to help rid those toxins of what we've consumed. So just imagine us eating at 10, 11, 12 o'clock in the morning, coming from the club, 1 a.m. We're eating, and while our liver is trying to work, and it just becomes more sluggish and harder to get off. And then, here we go with cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. So
you got to give your body time enough to repair itself.
Yes.
Because, from what I understand, our bodies are in line symmetrically with the sun. When the sun goes down, we're supposed to be going down with it. I haven't figured out how that works with somebody that's doing a night shift.
Right, right.
But there's a crew that goes to work, like you say, from like at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And if you're still up at 1 o'clock in the morning, that crew doesn't get to work that day. And what happens is they're not coming into work late. They just don't work on your body.
Right.
So that's one day. I don't know if that's one day you're not going to live longer. It takes years off your life when you don't get enough sleep. It takes years off your life when you don't let your body heal itself and give it time to repair itself.
What about buttering it up?
Buttering it up basically is talking about the dairy butters. Here we go with the cheeses. I know I'm going to get kicked off the set talking about cheese and how bad it is for you, but it's just milk fat, it's cow fat. And so buttering it up are those fats that are not the healthy fats for you, that coming from that mad cow.
This is one thing that I think a lot of people know about when you're shopping and when you're hungry. And shopping without a list is number 9 on the list. And we know this already. I think that's self-explanatory, because when you're shopping without a grocery list, you're going to go in Walmart. Those who are Walmart shoppers, I'm not a big Walmart shopper, but you're going to see this and all the things that they strategically placed in the store for marketing purposes, and you're just going to start pouring them in the basket. So if you don't have a shopping list, then that makes it, you're set up for failure at that point.
Yeah, and here's the whole thing. It's about meal planning. So if you're going to make a change in your diet, so now we have to strategically go to the schoolroom lunch menu, on what you're going to eat throughout the week.
Yes.
So everybody knows, and also shopping with our list helps you with your budgeting. Because just as soon as you go in, if you have your list together, now you're eating these wholesome foods, and this is what I'm going to stick to. Mm-hmm. And when you see those Oreo cookies, just as you're going around they got them sitting on sale, just pass them right up. Because they got the sugar. That's the reason why you're having diabetic tendencies or diabetic symptoms, because you're buying foods that you're accustomed to eating.
Yes.
We eat what our parents taught us to eat. We eat what our friends introduced us to.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
And we also eat traditionally,
yes.
Because Thanksgiving we're just going to lose our minds.
Yeah.
Right?
You kind of jumped ahead of me, because I was going to go there.
Okay.
The number 10 is emotional eating, you guys. So you talk about the holidays. Everybody's not happy during the holidays. Some people are still grieving. Some people have lost